Have you ever heard of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse mystery? In December 1900, Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur, keepers of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse off the northwest coast of Scotland, mysteriously disappeared. After the lighthouse went dark, a ship named Hesperus sailed to the Isles to investigate. On December 26, 1900, the Hesperus docked on the island at the bottom of a steep cliff. Joseph Moore, the relief lighthouse keeper, climbed the 160 steps up to the lighthouse alone. When he opened the door, Moore discovered a scene frozen in time. The clock on the wall stood silent, and the table was set, waiting for men who did not return. Moore found only one living creature at the lighthouse, a canary who sat quietly in a cage. After surveying the situation, he knew something serious had occurred, and fled the scene back to the landing. Back on board the Hesperus, Moore reported what he'd found, and 2 more sailors joined the search for the missing men. In the lighthouse, the searchers discovered an oilskin, protection against the rough northern weather, meaning one of the lighthouse keepers must have run from the lighthouse during the storm without his rain gear. The damage from the storm was catastrophic, with the western side of the isle taking the brunt. Iron railings had bent in the wind, a railway track was torn away from the concrete, an enormous boulder had rolled out of place, and a supply box lay smashed on the ground, with its contents spread across the rocky land. But there was still no sign of the 3 men. The official report by Robert Muirhead, the lighthouse board superintendent, who recruited the men, stated that the incident was merely an accident, and that the men had been swept away into the sea while trying to flee. However, with no bodies found, speculations as to what truly happened to them began to run rampant. Some claimed a sea serpent devoured the men, while others claimed that a fight had broken out, with one of the keepers killing another, and while covering up the crime, the survivors were swept out to sea. In the years after their tragic disappearance, the rumors surrounding the lighthouse keepers only intensified. Some speculated that the men were abducted by aliens or foreign spies, while others claimed the Isles are cursed and the land took them. Also, stories of a logbook containing suspicious entries began to surface, with entries speaking of their despair during a storm that produced severe winds, the likes of which they have never seen before in 20 years, praying for protection before it finally ended on December 15. However, according to reports, there were no adverse weather conditions in the area. The bodies of the missing lighthouse keepers were never found, and for almost 125 years, the mystery has remained unsolved. What do you think happened to these men?